everybody, it's Millie with Crafting in My PJs, and welcome back to one of my videos. Today we are going to make something for the holiday season. Are you ready? I think it's really cute. It is, I can't even fit it in the whole camera frame. It is a gnome, a Christmassy gnome to hang on your front door or a wall or something. Isn't he adorable? Made with mostly Dollar Tree items. So I'm going to show you how I did it and we're going to get started. All right, I am so sorry, but I had technical difficulties. My battery died on my microphone, so I have no audio. So I'm going to have to do a voiceover. All right, so these are our supplies for our project. We have a wire frame from Dollar Tree in the star shape. We have one mop head. That's all you need, and they sell them separately. The mop heads come separate from the poles, so you just need one. This is a Crafter Square felt. I think they're 18 inches long. It might be longer than that. Anyway, they're 18 inches wide, maybe? I don't know. I'll look at the tag for you. But just one roll of that is all you need. This one I had in my stash. It was actually in my garage. And it looks a little beat up, but it works fine for this project. But you don't need red. You can use any color. We're going to need one of these Santa hats. And we're not going to use the hat part. We're going to use the pieces off of it. So we are going to cut off the bottom strip, the bottom white first strip, and use that on the bottom of our hat that we make. And then we're going to cut off the pom-pom and we're going to use that as our gnome's nose. So there you go. And then the red material I will probably use with another project later on. Here's another Crafter Square item, and it's just glittery pom-poms. Had that in my stash too, again from Dollar Tree, and that can make our little pom-pom at the tip of our hat. Now, I'm showing you here a box cutter and a wire cutter. Turns out we don't need those, so just stay tuned. You'll see why. Pair of fabric scissors and a skewer, a wooden skewer. It still has the fuzz on it from when I did the first gnome hanger that I showed you in the intro. You don't need that. You can use your fingers, but this helps unraveling the mop strings. Makes it a little bit easier, but really and truly, it's not necessary. All right. So we are ready, I think, to get started. All right, so we're going to start with our mop head. We need to open it up and take it out. You just need one. You do not need more than one for this project. It comes with this plastic part at the top, and we need to separate the mop strings from this plastic part. Now, this is where I thought we might need the box cutter and the wire cutter, because in the first one I did, I took one side, is two plastic pieces on either side. I took one side, I cut it, and then it just opened up and I was able to get my strings out. But I learned here when I was making this video that if I just pull on one of the strings, ta-da, it comes out. You don't need to cut anything. No, just pull them out. Be a little careful at first because it's kind of tight. So those can go on the side. We don't need those. And we're going to pull out all of our strings carefully. In the beginning, I pulled out like one or two at a time. And then as it loosened up, you're able to take out big hunks. No big deal. It was easy peasy. All right. So we take all of those out. And you can throw away that plastic part. We don't need it. All right. So now we have our wire frame. You're going to have it facing with a point down. Any point you want, they're all the same, just one point down. And those sides that I'm touching right now, we're not going to actually use those. So forget those are even there. I'm going to show you later on what we're going to do with them. We're going to kind of get rid of them. But just the middle section are we going to use in between my two hands. So, and we're going to start in the very center. We're going to do like a loop knot. I don't know, it probably has a official name. So it's one, see that little V right there? And then the two spaces next to it. So we're going to loop it over, make sure your ends are even. And whatever way you loop the first time, I like to loop the same way. So things all sit the same and they're not bumpy. I don't think it really matters, but you know, it makes me feel better. So I think in this part, it took about 5 strings in this first diagonal section to fill it up. And you don't want to go over tight, but you want it to be nice and full. Because once we open up these strings, we want it to hide all of the green wire. And then I'm going to do the line right next to it. The bar right next to it. So after we do, oh, I'm sorry, I went to the other side. All right, so let's do the other side. Let's do it, you know, in order. One side, the other side. Again, 5 more strings. Fill that up. Nice and snug so it looks good, but not overly bulgy. And then we are going to take 1 string and we're going to go in the very center. Let's see if that's right now. Oh, I'm still filling. Okay, 5 strings. There you go. Now, we're going to put something in that middle section. So take your string, fold it in half, slip it under, so your loop is under like before, but then make sure your 2 tails are one on either side of the bar. And then pull it through the loop just like you did the others. And that'll give you a little bit of extra fluff over that center bar. And now we're just going to keep going and we're going to fill straight across. We have 2 more sections on either side. And those bars are a little bit smaller. They take about 4 strings each. And this is all approximate. It's going to depend on, I don't know, how you do your loops or whatever. But it's about 4. 4 strings is nice. And this doesn't take very long. This is kind of a quickie craft. I know it didn't take me more than 30 minutes for the whole thing. All right, so now we've got them all the way across the top. So now what we want to do is we want to flip our row of mop strings up. And we want to put the rest of them underneath. You're going to concentrate on the point going down. So there are 2 rows, 2 more rows, and we're going to kind of split our strings up between those 2 rows. So we're going to put 4 on one side, 4 on the other side, then go up and put 4 on that side, and 4 on the other side. So another 16 strings. And if you have any strings left over, you can fill in here. But if not, that's enough. All we're trying to do right now is give length to our beard for our gnome. You know, gnomes are known for long, kind of shaggy-ish beards. And the front of the beard hangs much lower, of course, than their sides. So kind of a rounded shape. That's the traditional gnome look. So that's what we're doing right here. We're giving that length and then also some bulk and some depth to it. All right, let's see. Starting back now on the other side. Filling it up. If at the end of the craft you feel like you need to secure your strings more, you can take some hot glue and run along the top loops to make sure they don't go anywhere. But honestly, mine haven't moved at all. So I think they're pretty secure. All right, we're starting to wind down now with strings. We're starting to fill up all of our spots. All right, what do we have? 1, maybe 2 left. And the very last string is going to be an odd one. So we're going to save that one to make a hanger on the back of the gnome's hat. So I'm going to end up putting that one on the side. So we've got enough. We filled them all up. We pull them all down so they're all hanging like they should. And we have this one left over. We'll put that one on the side to make a loop so that we have something to hanging with from the door. All right, so now we have his beard hanging down. Now we have to start unraveling all of these strings. It's not hard to do. Each string has about 4 threads to it, and they're just twisted. There's nothing, there's no glue, there's nothing holding them there. So I basically just take my skewer and I will split it in half and then split each half in half. So it's 3 motions to get it completely undone. It's not hard. It doesn't tangle. The skewer helps me out. I don't have nails or anything, but honestly, look, I'm just using my hands. Like the skewer was getting in my way. So I go back and forth, using the skewer and not using the skewer. Start on one side and work your way all the way methodically to the other side. Makes it a little bit neater if you do it that way. So you're not forgetting to do some of the strings. All right, so now I've completely unraveled all of his strings. And look how much fuller it makes his beard. Now you can always trim this beard so it's more roundy. I like the shaggy look about it, but you can trim it. So comb it out with your fingers. Just take your fingers and gently comb it out. And now we have, this is his beard. This is what his beard is going to look like. But now the hat is not going to quite fit on this. So what we need to do is we need to try and take these sides and we need to remove them. Now I tried cutting them and it was kind of hard to cut them. So I ended up, see the crafter square is only that wide. So I tried to cut them, but it was just a little too much to do that. And so I found it so much easier to just turn it over, then take my hands and bend that point in. That's all it takes. It's really not hard. Some of the welds are gonna break on you. It's quite okay. It's all right. All right, so that's it. That's how you get it smaller. That one the first one bent a little crooked, so I rebent it, which then broke some of it, but that's okay. It didn't matter. And see, I was rebending. One piece came off. It's all right. Just throw it on the side. And then by leaving this on the back, it gives you a little bit of bulk and it pokes out the hat a little bit, so you don't need as much stuffing. So now I've got it narrower. So now my hat is going to fit. So put him to the side. Let's roll out the hat pieces. Now I took my original hat and I traced it on here. Look at my poor material. Something, I don't know what happened to it. I don't know if he got caught on something, but that's okay. It's going to be on the back. It'll be fine. So I did trace it. So you're going to roll it out, fold it in half. And, you know, this is a template that you can do yourself. It's basically some straight lines down at the bottom, straight. Then you're going to make a triangle. And then you're going to curve that triangle. It's really not hard. Anybody can do it because it doesn't have to be perfect. A gnome's hat is not perfect, and they come in all different shapes. So, yeah, my poor material. I did not realize it was that bad. But I'm going to pick up some more. This hat came out fine, but I have one more of these to make for my children. So I will pick up another section of the felt from Dollar Tree. I thought blue, if you put some snowflakes on it, like some vinyl snowflakes or felt snowflakes, that would be really cute. All right, so I have it folded in half. I have my template drawn. I don't know if you can see it on the video. And then I'm just cutting it out. And that's it. Now, we're going to end up gluing this together. You can sew it. If you have a sewing machine and you like to sew, you can sew. I took the easy route this time just to show you that gluing it would be perfectly fine. There's my little curve. I'm back down to the straight part. And now the triangle part is where I'm cutting. And then we're going to curve. Give it a little bit of character. There you go. All right. So now we have our hat. Our hat's ready to go. And even though I can't see my black outline, I do turn it inside out to glue it together so that you can't see if there are any marks. I am not going to turn it inside out after I glue it. I'm just going to leave those edges perfectly fine like that. They look nice. The glue doesn't melt through. If you keep your lines pretty close to the edge, it gives it a nice finish. So it'll be fine. All right, so we are ready to glue this together. Make sure everything's even or as even as you can. Because in my case, my material was messed up on the back. So I did the best I could getting it straight. We're going to take our hot glue and we are going to start gluing it together. There we go. I always burn myself when I do hot glue too. You can bet money on that. All right, so it's coming together. Pulling it apart. Run that glue along the edges. And then put it right back together. All right, time for the other side. And I did stop before the bottom on this particular hat only because it was messed up on the back. So I figured I was going to have to use the trimming to kind of get it all the way together. Look, I'm missing a whole bunch of material back there. So, and it worked out fine. All right, so our hat's together. It's drying. It's sealing up nicely, the fibers. So now it's time to take, my dog's trying to come in. Take our Santa hat. So we're going to cut off the pom-pom. That's going to be his nose. And then we're going to cut off the bottom. And that is going to be the bottom of his hat, like, you know, the little fur piece. So just cut along carefully. I did cut along the red part as opposed to the white part. So it left the finished edges of the white. And then I thought there would be maybe less shredding. Sorry, had to close the door. That was the noisiest door close ever. All right, so cutting along. And then it is glued in 2 spots, so I had to separate that. And that was spot number 1. And here is spot number 2. All right, so now we have it separated. And all we're going to do is glue it at the bottom of our hat. Here I'm just trimming off some of the too much red. But it's all, the red is all going to blend into the hat, so that's not a problem. And it's going to curl under, so you're not even going to see it. It came out really great, I have to say. It was a good idea. All right. And you see it's going to cover up some of that bad part in the back. And nobody's going to see the back anyway because it's going to go up against the door. Now, if I was giving this away to somebody, then on this one I used some flannel or something. It was like furry flannel. And I didn't carry it all the way through to the back. This one I'm keeping, but I'm making some for my children. I wouldn't give them the ones where, you know, the material's all messed up in the back. I would make sure that they got a good piece. All right, so let's slip it on. Let's see how it goes. And I do remember, as I was doing this, that it turned out to be a little too wide. The star was a little too wide. And so we had to do a little bit of bending so that we could get the hat all the way down. The hat's got to come all the way down to your beard. See how it was poking out too much up there? I didn't like that. So we took it off and we just did a little bit of bending. There you go. And again, it gives it more shape anyway. It gives the hat more roundness and you're doing less stuffing. So we slipped it on all the way down so it touches that the strings, the mop strings, the beard. There you go. Looks good. Kind of get everything the way you want it. We are going to have to stuff the tip of the hat, but I'll do that in a minute. All right, so we have him where we want him. We have the hat where we want it, and we're going to take that. Oh, I did trim off some of that, yes, so that it didn't really look bad. Yeah, they looked much better that way. With having a big flap, not so much. All right, so now we're going to take our white and we're going to glue it on. I'm always trying to get things in position when it comes to the gluing because I burn my fingers. Now, if you wanted to, you could actually pull this white band down a little bit further so that it would maybe be in between the red hat and the beard. So if you had a little bit of wire that was showing and you wanted that covered up like a little spacer, you could do that too. All right, and here we're covering up that bad part on the back, which this worked out really well. Covered everything up sufficiently. And then the other side. And there you go. Now, I'm going to turn it over. And we should have, oh, his nose. His nose. That was the pom-pom we took off the top. Now, because it's white and because his beard is white, I took some Distress ink, Tim Holtz Distress ink. You could use makeup too, like blush out of your makeup case. And I just patted it on to get it like a pinkish color so that it showed up against all the white. Besides, if you're out in the cold, I mean, I live in the South, but if you're out in the cold, I would assume you have red noses, right? I don't know. All right, so let's glue that sucker on. He goes right there in that little hole you see, the V. That's where the nose goes. And I put a glue so that it's going to glue him to both, mostly to the beard itself. So he stays in that hole. All right, and so you do need some sort of little doohickey, some little embellishment on his hat. I forgot to get that when I was at Dollar Tree. They did have poinsettias there and they had some shiny stuff. So that is something. I could cut something out of some other felt or vinyl and sew it on and iron it on. I will do something. I will do something to poof that up. All right, so I had to go get some bags, and here they are. I used grocery bags to fill him up. I think he has a nice little round part on the front, which is good. But his little top of his hat, it needs a little bit of help, just a little. So we're going to take some of the bags, and we're going to stuff it in. Now, you've got your, if you used a skewer, you could use your skewer to get it up in there. Or you could use a ruler. A ruler would get it up in there. And I think I used 3 bags in the first gnome, and this one was probably about 2 bags. That's all I had, was 2 bags. Because the wire is giving me a lot of shape, so I don't really need it. And then we need to put his pom-pom on the top. You want to kind of squish things down. He's really not a Santa Claus, even though he kind of looks like it. He's a gnome, so I wanted that to kind of fold that way. I put this one facing this way, but I was kind of thinking maybe he should be that way. Maybe it needs to come down and put that pom-pom like on top like that. So that's what I did here. There we go. Another green pom-pom. And look how cute he is. All right, did we get everything? We got his hat, we got his pom-pom, we got his nose, we've got his fur. He's got a cute little beard, which you can trim if you'd like. I think he's good. Just need some embellishment right there. Hey, we're done. So look how cute. Look how cute. Our gnome came out great, and I'm sure yours will come out great too. Easy as can be, about a $5 craft. Takes about 20 minutes. The longest part was unraveling the mop strings, which literally took me about 15 minutes. And yeah, comes out really cute. All right, thank you so much for joining me. I know I had some technical difficulties during the actual craft part of the craft, and so I had to voice over everything, but I hope you still enjoyed it. All right, thanks. And if you don't mind, if you like this video, please give me a like. And if you want to see more videos that I make, then give me a subscribe and I'd be so happy. All right, thanks everybody.